Hi, welcome to OXTalks by OKC Podcast. And here we talk about DeFi, GameFi, Metaverse, crypto, and everything else related to them. This is your host, James. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of OXTalks by OKC Podcast. And today we have a very good conversation with Abhishek Buchvani, and he's the CEO and co-founder of Playzap. And Playzap is the future of play-to-earn gaming. With Playzap, you can enter the Playzap metaverse, you can win PvP battles, you can collect NFTs, interact with other users, and earn valuable rewards and generate income. Welcome, Abhishek. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks, James, for inviting me here.
Yeah, it's good to have you here as well. So let's get started with the introduction of yourself and the introduction of Playzap. Can talk about the background of Playzap and how you guys came up with this idea.
Sure. So my name is Abhishek Buchvani. You can call me Abhi. I started my gaming career about in 2006. So been into gaming industry over 16 years now. I work with a few gaming companies in Asia and Europe. Then I started my first gaming venture as a co-founder in 2015. So we built a company called Cozy Games, where we focus mostly on building sports celebrity IP games. So we build out the games with Pele, Cristiano Ronaldo, David Villa, some of the top celebrities. We built out a nice business and we exited in 2019. Then right after that, we started a new venture called Play, where we mostly focus on building a gaming content and some of the technology that we wanted to build. And then we started moving into building play-to-earn gaming platform, which is Playzap Games. So Playzap Games started almost a year ago. We started with a small use case of building a technology and finding out how can we solve some of the problems we have in other play-to-earn games. And as we went more deeper into it, the team started enjoying it, and we really found that we are solving some of the big problems around gaming industry, around play-to-earn games, and how can we give power to our users, our players who've been putting their time and skill into it. So that's how Playzap Games started. So Playzap Games is essentially a gaming platform where you can play multiple games in one app, in one platform, and these games are optimized, based on the skills. So you're always competing against someone. We are trying to focus on building pieces and all the gaming pieces around that platform, which gonna empower our players in terms of earning from a platform or owning additional assets, and socially engage with other players.
So you're talking about the problems of P2E gaming, and you said that you found out the problems and you tried to give out the solutions by creating the Playzap platform. Can you talk a little bit about these problems? What problems did you guys see and how you guys are solving these problems?
Sure. So the first problem what we see when we look into some of the projects, they are really complex in nature, right? If you are really thinking about making this play-to-earn as a mainstream system that people have to adopt, you have to solve those. You have to make it very, very simple for the players, right? So the problem with some of the fundamental problem we have seen that connecting your wallet and finding how to earn that a currency or native token from a platform is very complex, right? Second, we find that the games are inherently built for mid-core and hardcore users. Nobody's focusing on those users who play games on day-to-day life, right? So more mainstream users. And some of the problem we have seen in a Web2 or free-to-play business that you invest, you buy currency, you buy virtual currency on the platform, you buy some sort of virtual goods on the platform, but there's no use of it outside the application, right? So these are the fundamental problem that we see. There's a white space, and then we started building Playzap Games, where we focus on mainstream audience. So our games are very casual, simple to play, and engage with the audience and compete against each other. And second, we are trying to build more like an esports style kind of structure where you always playing those games, and you're always playing either competing against someone individual, or you're playing with a large audience, with a large group. So this creates a very strong competition at core. And then we are trying to empower our players to earn those native tokens in a more seamless way, and withdraw from the platform in a more easy way possible.
Yeah, you're talking about the complexity of Web3 play to earn games. And I totally agree with that. I mean, if someone who is not very aware of play to earn games wants to, enter and start playing and earning, it takes a bit effort and time for them to learn how to actually enter the platform and how to actually learn to play and learn how to earn and get the income from that platform. And at the same time, as you mentioned, like seamlessly exchanging the tokens that you earn in game into some type of cryptocurrency, whether it's the native token of that platform or USDT or whatever. Yeah, it's a bit complex, and I think that's one of the reasons. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. One more example of Playzap. We are mobile first, right? And most of the games you have seen that you need a desktop and it's running on web browser, etc. And our objective is to make this, our Playzap application is like, to be a part of your day-to-day life. You have a 5 minutes, you're waiting for the bus, or you have like a few minutes to play. You can open up, mobile phone, go and play a couple of rounds and collect your winnings. So we're trying to solve not only at the functional level, but also at the accessible level. So it can be accessible for all those users who used to play these kind of games before.
I think like we were trying to make everything as comfortable and as accessible as possible, especially regarding the technology. And instead of getting huge screens or huge desktops, everyone, if you think back from the history, we had huge computers, and after that, they moved on to desktops, and then we moved on to laptops, then smartphones, iPhones, iPads, and all that, tablets. So here, the main problem was the accessibility. If you're not at home, that means you're not access to your desktop. So you cannot play a game or you cannot watch a movie or whatever. But with your tablets and with your phones, it's easy to access and you can do whatever you want on your phone now. And solving the problem of accessibility and making it convenient for others to play, especially for the casual players, to play and earn passive income, I think is one of the main points for any gaming platforms to go mainstream and be adopted by as many people as possible.
Yeah. Look, people used to play mastery games. They used to play Tetris kind of games, right? And we are adding, we are putting them into mainstream on Play to Earn ecosystem, and we are giving them ownership of the assets they're going to interact with. So that's the kind of change we want to bring as with Playzap.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we're talking about the mainstream, play to earn, well, especially the crypto, the whole crypto market has not been mainstream yet compared to, let's say, internet or smartphones or whatever. And especially the play to earn games are not as mainstream as you would like. So what do you think is the reason for that? And what do you think can be done in order to increase the popularity of play to earn games?
I think there are a few problems we discussed already. That's definitely going to help us to bring this experience to the mainstream players. Second is the whole crypto thing it's not very easy to understand. Not everybody's trading crypto, right? So we have to approach in a way that what player understand. The player the first focus has to be on your fun and engagement part of it. People love to come to your product and play your games because they want to play the games, not just to earn money, right? And if you solve that and you bring and top of that you put education, that how the system works, that you can make passive income out of it, based on your skill and time. That's what the product has to offer. So I think that some of the problems you've already mentioned about the accessibility, making it easy for the players. So of course, going to help us for the mainstream players and the casual players to understand and educate them, through various channels. Like even you're playing, let's say, a simple mastery game, you're playing with the virtual currency. You've been playing with it on a different platform. How can you play the same game, compete with someone, and if you're good at your skill, you can win tokens. You can win native tokens. And how can you withdraw those tokens into a fiat currency or into something meaningful, right? It's a massive industry, right? So if you see a casual gaming industry only on mobile, it's some about like $55 to $60 billion market. Right, and and Play to Earn probably going to be maybe a 1 or 2% of it. Right? So if you solve these problems and making more making it more accessible and convenient for the users to adopt, and so I think it's gonna be much better in coming years. So giving more accessibility to a mobile phone that can play your games, making easy games for users to play and understand how this will work, and third, making it easy for them to understand the concept of Play to Earn.
Well, in the beginning, you mentioned that you guys also have a certain accessibility or a certain platform for developers, for game developers. As you mentioned, that an end user can play different games in your platform. So my question would be, what can you guys offer to the game developers or creators or your partners in general?
So we are essentially a game developer ourselves, right? So we understand the pain point of what every game developer goes through. And we built out a platform keeping them in mind as well. So whatever games we're going to offer in the beginning, we already built out about 10 games that we're going to launch with our platform. And after that, we're going to open this platform for other game developers to build games with us. And we understand that there are very talented game developers around, and there's every game developer is facing some sort of problems in terms of how to engage their how to increase the engagement with their games, how to monetize, how to create an additional income source, because building games is very hard. So what we're going to do under Playzap, once we're going to launch our platform and we have a proof of concept with everyone to see how these games work, we're going to open this platform for very selected game developers, right? And of course, we have a shortlisting process that we're going to go to a community first to take the approval of those games, whether they want to play this game or not. If they give us a thumbs up, then we're gonna do an internal, shortlisting, and then we work with the game developer to optimize and convert their game into a Playzap format. And we have all the tools and technology that can make it possible. Of course, once we work with the game developers, we work very closely, and we are not going to open for everyone and anyone in the near future. We'll be working with very selected developers to make sure that we bring great quality content for our community to start with. And our tools and our SDK will make it happen. Probably, I would say it's probably going to take maybe 2 or 3 weeks, to convert their games into esports format, into using our Z-Arena product and all kind of infrastructure we have built around blockchain. And once it's onboarded, we can start serving to our players. Of course, we have to closely watch like the engagement and the play time and all sort of metrics to make sure that the game is working as we expected. And once we have it on board, we always gonna keep promoting that particular game to the players and finding the right kind of audience for that game we're playing on our platform and try to make it better experience for them. From the incentive point of view, we of course depends on kind of games we're going to acquire. But we'll have very straightforward revenue share with the game developers. So the game developers can earn revenue from their game, with our Playzap audience. So there'll be about like 30 to 50% of the revenue will go to game developers. And these game developers, these developers basically they have to provide their own games. It's a non-exclusive agreement. They don't need to be exclusive with us, and they can get exposure on Play to Earn gaming, right? So we are solving a lot of problems that we have been facing over a year when we started building Playzap, and making it easier for other game developers to get exposure to Play to Earn, find their own new audience for them, and probably build some nice content for Play to Earn audience.
Yeah, well, the thing is that as you try to screen, let's say, so many games and what the game developers are creating, at the same time, you understand the pros and cons of each and every game because you already have the analyzing tools and you understand how the game works and you understand what the community wants. So what would you suggest to, let's say, game developers who are just getting started and who just want to create new types of games?
Well, so as I said in the beginning, right, the building games is very hard. You have to go with the concept phase to figure out like what user wants. Because this industry is like been there for about 30, 40 years now. So you have to innovate, right? So whatever mechanics and the content you choose, you have to find something new to offer to the players. And if you already have a game that you can go back and see what is the engagement, if people are coming back to the game again or not, how long they're going to play if they're playing it, what kind of content they like it inside the game, what makes them to come back to the game, what is the rewarding loop around it, right? So if you have those key metrics that behavior analysis of those games, you can easily find out like what's working, what not. For the new developers who wanted to build play to earn games, they don't have to think about play to earn in the beginning, right? They have to just build a fun game that user will love that, right? If your player loves your content, they will come back to you regardless of play to earn or free to play, right? So my advice would be like focus on building a very engaging content that your player loves, and come to us to make your game enabled for blockchain and play to earn format.
Nicely said. Nicely said. And I agree with what you said as focus, because, well, right now we're having a bearish market, and this is the perfect time for developers to focus on what really matters and create games or create projects that can last and that can actually bring value to the community. Bear market is where you don't have so many trends going on, that you don't have so much distraction. So it's easier for developers to create, to develop, and make something meaningful in the market.
And not every single game can be converted to a play to earn, right? So, and also for the Playzap games, we have a very specific requirement that kind of games you want to publish. First of all, they need to be competitive. So, 2 or more players can compete on that game. If it is a single player game, we'll find a way that how can we make it more competitive. If you play a Candy Crush Saga kind of game, then you play level wise, right? You play one level and you go to level 2, and you keep doing it because it gives you a very strong rewarding loop and fun way of engaging with the content. This game can become competitive format, and we have built that. Similarly, you have to find a game that can be competitive, can be can be skill based sort of format, right? And yeah, if these games are fit into that kind of criteria, then we can publish in the Playzap. And also you have to, like, for example, Axie Infinity, right? It's a great game. It's focused completely on play to earn, right? So the more time you spend, the more you earn. So again, you have to find out like why we are building it, to start with. And if you already have a game that, find out like, can it become play to earn? If answer is yes, then it can, and you have to find how to do it.
Yeah. And well, in the Web 2, there are so many competitive or skill-based games, and they are so popular amongst the people. Now, do you expect them to go Web 3 in the near future? And if so, what do you think? What challenges are they going to face?
As I said, like not every single game can be fit for play to earn, right? So it's also depend like how you design an economy, and where you have like a multiple parameters from gamify and blockchain and Web3 comes into the scene, because you have to build out the strong tokenomics to start with, right? To not to think about only the game, but think about like how do you run this business over the period of time, right? How do you make sure that you stay alive for next 4 to 6 years, 10 years down the line, and keep on serving to the community with that particular game, right? I have seen some of the play to earn projects. They start with one game, they create great hype, etc. But after that, they realize they can't able to scale that one game forever, right? Because every game has a shelf life. Some of the game lasts for like 1 month. People play for 1 month and they just go to some other game. Or this some of the games can last longer, like 6 months, 1 year. Some of the games can last longer forever, right? Some of the casual games I remember, the PopCap has created very early called P2E. It's again a Mastery game, right? So the King after that took over that Mastery concept and created as a Candy Crush. So genre can be evolved, but you have to think like you have to think more deeper way from the game design perspective. You're building for 3 months, you're building for 6 months, you're building for as a business that you can stay last longer. Single game, individual games, of course they can stay, but the engagement, the long-term engagement will drop after a while, and that's the reason for us to Playzap as opposed as a gaming platform where we keep refreshing those content every quarter. So even you come back after you play today, and after 1 month you come back, you might find new games, and that's what you want, right? People need new content, and that's the reason for us to have a strong content treadmill and bringing good quality games. Either building ourselves or working with the game developers outside, and keep making sure that the Playzap games is offers new content every time you come back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like the users, they want to come back and play one game, and then after a month they come back again and play the same game with zero developments or with zero innovation. What you want them to be is that you want them to come back with an excitement to play a new game and to find out that there are new innovations in the platform and you're making developments, and through that way you're making them excited to come back and spend longer time. And as the time goes by, they'll be able to find their favorite games and they'll spend much time on that. But at the same time, they'll be open-minded, and then they'll try to explore new games in your platform. And as we're talking about Playzap, you guys are developing your own tokens, right? As far as I understand. So can you talk a little bit about the tokenomics of your tokens?
Well, for the business perspective, we are keeping a very strong tool for the game incentive. So essentially, Playzap games is not something that you have to buy tokens to start with, right? It's a free to play. So you can come to our platform, you can pick virtual currency, and you can start playing those free tournaments, right? And that's how we're trying to make this a mainstream platform, that you don't need to buy tokens. You don't need to get into all the complex structure of connect your wallet and buy tokens and stuff. You can always start like as a free user. So that's why we want to use our game incentive and the reward pool to incentivize those users who play for free, and they can possibly win in-game currency that allow them to win like a native token, right? So they have to grind through, but also there will be another part of that user can play for the paid tournaments where they can enter with a small fee and they can win big native tokens, and all of that comes from the game incentive pool. We are and similarly for other tokenomics, you have seen in the different projects, right? So we keep it some for the marketing, some for the team, and then we are also using 20%, 5% of the tokens for to raise investment for this project. So this is what the high level breakup of the tokenomics, and we're trying to make it very simple in a way. We have one currency, one token on the platform. So we're not trying to create any complex way of creating multiple tokens that I've seen in different projects. Just the one main currency you have, the secondary in-game currency you have, and that's about it. Right? So you have to be, you'll be very, very easy to understand like how this currency works. And yeah, this is about tokenomics. And any specific questions you have around it?
No, that's pretty much it. I just want to get some general idea. Yeah, that's cool.
But
That's
James,
cool.
we've got a very strong game economy inside the platform, right? So let's go more deeper into it. That whenever user comes and put the tokens into our platform, right, we create a smart contract, escrow smart contract, right? So we actually store the tokens into an escrow smart contract, and when we conclude the tournament results, then user can interact with the smart contract and take their winnings, right? So we're keeping it we know that everything will be public anyway. People understand like where the tokens are going, how they're getting winnings, etc. And around that, we kept a very simple game economy that grows with the players in the project. Just want to add that.
Yeah, transparency is very important, and simplicity as well, because without transparency and simplicity, it's not very easy to get new users and to have them excited about the tokens, the native tokens of your platform. And well, I'm guessing that you will be using the Zap Wallet. The users will be using the Zap Wallet to collect all the in-game tokens and try to bridge it if they want to try to bridge it to any other networks. So could you give more info on the Zap Wallet?
Yeah, sure. So we are keeping both the users kind of in mind, right? So if you have a user with the wallet, the user doesn't have any wallet, no exposure with the wallet in that kind of sense. Of course, they understand how the money is stored, etc. But maybe they don't have any kind of wallet on their phone, or they don't use that for for any reason. So when you come to a platform, we create our own in-game wallet address for you, right? When you play as a free player and play a free tournaments, you can win free currency and free some sort of in-game currency that will allow you to play a paid tournaments also. Eventually, all the tokens you win in the game will be stored inside in the game wallet. From that, you can take your winning tokens to either you can transfer back to your main wallet address, which is we already provide to you. So you can keep those currency inside the game, and you can keep buying in-game items or NFTs, etc. We offer, or you can withdraw to your external wallet. So the process is very, very similar, very simple. You have your own wallet address inside the game, and if you want to transfer that tokens to some other wallet address, you have to just copy paste and transfer it, right? So that's how this overall wallet system works. It's a kind of Zap wallet which stores not only the tokens, the main tokens, but also in-game currency and NFTs and stuff. So it just everything is inside one under one wallet, and you can easily accessible on your on the mobile gaming app that we are creating.
About NFTs as well. Apparently, you guys have an NFT marketplace where people can buy and sell their NFTs. Is it similar to mainstream NFT marketplaces like OpenSea or LooksRare, or is it different?
It's going to be very specific to Playzap ecosystem, right? So we have a three phases to launch our NFTs. The first phase, what we are launching is it's a kind of Z Heroes. We're calling it Z Heroes, which is essentially a premium passes, right? So with this, and every pass will come with a unique character. So you build out about like bunch of characters in house, and these characters, of course, they can be a playable NFT depending on game to game, but this is your social identity, right? So in the long term, Playzap wants to become a social metaverse and want to go more deeper into a in that genre. So how can become more interactive, more socially engaged, right? So we are starting up with giving a social identity to yourself, right? So it'll be a cool 3D avatar, and you can play with it. So for example, we're working on one of the runner game. We're also working on one of the tank game, which you can see your avatar as a playable, right, in action. So these are the first set of NFTs we will be launching it, and this Z Heroes will come with the various benefits. So it has a lot of function and utility value on the platform, and this works with all the games, all the games we'll launch in the future. This is more at the platform level, right? So for example, you own certain NFT, you can boost your winnings by a certain margin, right? If you have certain NFT and you come back to the game, we give you loyalty rewards to you, right? And all the benefits and the functionality are more in the context of play to earn. So if you buy an NFT, it means that you like our project, you want to you want to explore more deeper into it with us as we go forward, and you think about long, right? And all the NFTs what we're creating, they are upgradable NFTs. So as you perform, within the game, depending on your performance and your skill, we give you some these NFT points, Z points, where you can upgrade your NFT. So you start with level 1 and you're playing good and you keep accumulating those Z points, then you go to level 2 and then 3 and so on, right? As you grow in these levels, your utility value also will grow, so we are designing such a way. The second phase, what we want to do is we want to bring all the digital assets that we have inside the game.
Wait. Before we jump on to the second phase, I have a few questions about the first phase.
Sure.
In particular, the Z Heroes. You said that it would be an NFT 3D avatar. It would act like your social ID in your metaverse. So does that mean that if I have one Z Heroes NFT, I can use that social ID for every games in your platform?
Yeah, it is one common ID for Playzap, basically. So even tomorrow we have, let's say, hundreds of games on the Playzap, you still have one social identity. And some of the games will offer that you can play with your character. Some of the game will not, right? But it's one social ID you have for Playzap.
Okay. And you also mentioned the Z points. Do I use the Z points for leveling up my social ID, my NFT, or how does that work?
That's right. So basically, I'll give you a very simple example. So let's say you buy an NFT with any kind. Let's say you buy a category of gold NFT. Let's say, right? You got a great 3D avatar, and you start with level 1. And with the level 1, you have some benefits. Let's say, for example, if you win the certain tournament, you have 1% winning boost. So let's say you're winning 10 tokens, we'll give you 1% extra winning because you own that NFT, right? And there are certain more benefits like that. You start with level 1, and inside the game, we made it this whole NFT leveling, more as a gamified kind of an approach. Let's say, for example, you play a certain game and you score XYZ, whatever, right? Or you beat, let's say, 10 people, right, in that particular game. Moment you do that, or moment you complete those tasks and achievements, we give you those Z points, right? And for example, from go to level 1 to level 2, you have to collect, let's say, 100 Z points. So once you collect 100 Z points based on the task and achievements we offer you, then you go to level 2. Once you go to level 2 of that NFT, your benefit will become more stronger, and so on. So let's say, for example, you buy one NFT and after 3 months you level to, let's say, 5. and then you want to sell this NFT, right? And once you go to the market, it already has a very high value. So you can go out in the market and sell it at a much higher price, because someone else wants to buy doesn't want to go and start from level 1 and go to level 5. They directly want to buy a level 5 NFT, right? So that's how we are designing in a way. So the more effort and more skill you put, more time you put into your NFTs, into your game, the higher value you can unlock.
Let's talk about the phase 2.
Sure. So phase 2, essentially is going to be a digital marketplace where, let's say, we have a game of 8-ball pool on our platform, right? And there are some digital assets we are using it. And as we're going to launch our marketplace, we'll be creating more unique assets, in the form of NFT. So you can actually own, let's say, a monster-looking cube in 8-ball pool that has maybe only 100 supply involved, right, under Playzap. So we'll be launching multiple, NFTs at the game level. And once we're going to onboard our partners and other game developers, we'll always be thinking about, like, what kind of, elements can become a really strong NFT. What could be a unique value we can offer with those NFTs, right? Whether it has a visual value or a functional value, depending on game to game and the item. But that's all the items going to go into a marketplace. So of course you can buy those, from our marketplace. You can trade on secondary market. You can also trade inside Playzap. So you have a community where you can, trade inside. You can also put your NFT on auction. Someone's going to come, because let's say there are only 100 queues. They're owned by 100 people, let's say. So someone wants to buy it, and you could put on auction, and someone's going to come and bid and take it. Right? So these are the phase of this marketplace. We're going to launch it. And the third phase in this NFT, that will be launching a Z-Land. So once we put our platform on to the public in beta, we actually building out a kind of very unique way of organizing your own tournament. So the Z-Land is basically, you own that property, you own that virtual property under Playzap, and you can organize your own tournament. You can pick our game, you can use whatever we have in the game. So you can pick one of the game, and you can bring your own community, own players, own friends, to play that game. And we are not organized in that case. You are the organizer, because you own that land, and in that land you can actually organize it and take advantage of it. And whatever commission and whatever revenue we make from that particular tournament, that we share with the landowners. This is the 3 phases of the NFT that we want to launch. And of course, as we are going, there are multiple feedback we're going to get from community and players, and we evolve from there. But this is what essential thought process, around NFTs.
Okay, and these 3 phases, when do you think you'll be able to complete them?
We want to make sure that whatever we launch, we measure it and we take a feedback from community. So the first phase is going to be a Z Heroes. We are thinking to launch right after TGE. So the moment our token is live and our product is live, the people can play with the tokens. After that, we'll be launching a first phase of it, and probably in 3 to 4 months' time, we'll launch second phase of NFT, and so on. Right? So we want to make sure that whatever we are launching, we can go to our community, take their feedback, understand what they want, and give them exactly what they want.
It's actually working, and in which direction it's going, and with the feedback of the community that you have, you will be able to create a product that actually works and that actually attracts your users to use them and to enjoy them, and at the same time bring revenue to you guys and passive income for them. Is there any other future plans that you guys are excited about?
Well, I think we covered pretty much. As I said, it's stupid to make like a plan for next 5 years and 10 years, because market is changing, the player behavior is changing. We have to make a plan for, let's say, for a year or two, and make sure we execute it properly, right? So more focus on execution rather than building up, big plans. So we are pretty much head down and working on a product and making sure we bring a great experience for the players. That's the first priority for us, and that's why we started Playzap. And then learn with the community. It's a fantastic platform. With Web3 and Play2, and it's driven by community, right? And of course, there are certain a part of it that they're only investors to come and buy your tokens and be happy about your project, but they don't come and play. But you need players, right, to make your projects more successful. So it's a fantastic way that we can go out to our community, organize a Discord, session, and or maybe just reach out to Telegram and do some poll and get the feedback immediately, right? So it gives you a sense of confidence that you can do it. Of course, in gaming you have the angle of player community, etc., but it's not very strong on free to play, right? It's mostly a customer support, right? You have any query, you can go back and select, hey, I have a problem, then you get solved. But in this, like, you're building with players, right? So this is something that we have to address it, properly, and make your community and your players part of your journey. And this will evolve, over the period of time. That's what I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the community. If you listen to the community and get their feedback and act accordingly to develop your projects, then absolutely you'll be successful in especially in Web3. As you said, Web3 is driven by the community, and it's important to listen to them. I actually wanted to talk more about the Playzap and the current crypto space, but unfortunately we don't have enough time. So I thank you for coming on to our podcast and talk about Playzap and the future plans and all that. And Abhi, I really enjoyed it, and I hope our listeners will enjoy it too.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. It was very nice talking to you, James. Thank you for having me.
To learn more about Playzap, check out the show notes of this episode. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Peace.